Welcome back, everyone. Today, we tackle one of the most sensitive and powerful aspects of crisis management, ethics and transparency. This episode is about doing the right thing, especially when it's hard.
That's right, Yogesh. In a crisis, the truth often feels like a liability. But long-term trust and reputation depend on how honest and principled you are in your response.
Let's begin by framing this clearly. Ethical communication means telling the truth, owning responsibility, protecting stakeholders, and avoiding manipulation.
And transparency doesn't mean sharing every detail, but it does mean being clear, timely, and authentic. People can handle bad news. What they hate is deception or spin.
Exactly. Let's go through a few real-world examples. Remember the Tylenol crisis in the 1980s? 7 people died after cyanide-laced capsules were found on shelves.
Johnson & Johnson's response became a case study in ethical crisis management. They pulled 31 million bottles off shelves, cooperated fully with the authorities, and prioritized public safety over profits.
And they communicated transparently throughout. No blame shifting, no excuses. The result? Their reputation actually strengthened. Trust increased.
Contrast that with companies that try to cover up. Volkswagen's diesel emission scandal is a classic example of unethical behavior, manipulating data and denying wrongdoing.
And the fallout was huge. Billions in fines, executive resignations, and massive reputational damage. It shows that dishonesty creates a second crisis, often worse than the original issue.
So how should organizations act ethically in the face of a crisis? First, adopt a values-first mindset. Define what principles guide your decisions before a crisis hits.
That's key. Ethics shouldn't be improvised. They should be built into your crisis playbook. Statements like, "We will tell the truth," "We will protect vulnerable groups," or "We will correct misinformation."
Then comes responsibility. If the organization caused harm, own it. Don't minimize it. Don't blame others. Apologize genuinely and say what corrective action you'll take.
Let's talk about apologies because they're often done poorly. A good apology includes acknowledgement, accountability, empathy, and a plan to make things right.
Yes, not "we're sorry you were offended." That shifts blame. Say, "We made a mistake. We understand the harm it caused. Here's what we're doing to fix it."
Transparency also includes how often you communicate. Regular updates, even if there's no new information, show that you care and are still engaged.
Another tip is use plain language. Avoid corporate jargon or legalese. It makes you seem evasive. Speak like a human, not a robot.
This is especially important when dealing with vulnerable communities, like in public health, product safety, or environmental disasters. Clarity can literally save lives.
One ethical pitfall is withholding bad news. Sometimes leaders want to wait until they have all the answers, but silence can look like a cover-up.
It's better to say, "We're investigating, here's what we know so far, and we'll update you as we learn more." That builds credibility.
And remember, ethical communication isn't just external. Be transparent with employees, too. Don't let them learn about a crisis through media or Twitter.
In fact, employees can be your most trusted ambassadors during a crisis, if you treat them with respect and honesty.
Let's also touch on social media ethics. It's tempting to delete negative posts or disable comments during a firestorm, but doing so can backfire.
Instead, moderate respectfully, respond with facts, thank people for feedback even if it's harsh, and never argue online. You won't win.
There's also the issue of influencers and paid endorsements. If they're involved in a crisis, like a product recall, they need to disclose that. Transparency applies to them too.
Right. And for investors or public companies, ethical disclosure also involves financial transparency. Don't downplay impacts just to protect the stock price.
Finally, remember that doing the right thing isn't always the easy thing, but over time, it's what builds a resilient reputation.
In fact, the public often forgives honest mistakes more than calculated deception. Integrity is the currency of long-term trust.
To close today's conversation, Ethics and transparency should be the non-negotiables of every crisis response. They aren't PR strategies. They are moral imperatives.
Thank you, Lily. And to our listeners, and always remember, when the pressure's highest, your values matter most. If you found this episode of Corporate Communication useful, don't forget to join us at leadershipacademy.tagbizsutra.com. Do share it with your friends and colleagues and leave your review. Next time, we'll explore rebuilding trust and reputation after a crisis. Because surviving the storm is only the beginning. Restoring faith takes even more work.